welcome back to our daily Sunday podcast with our special guest today, Shira. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be discussing about Malaysia's economics, or in general, macroeconomics. So, what is actually unemployment?
That's a good question, Sarah. So, unemployment refers to the situation where a person actively searches for employment but is unable to find work or a job. The first one is structural unemployment that caused by mismatch in the demographic of workers and the type of jobs available. Either when there are jobs available that workers do not have the skill for, or when there are workers available but no jobs to fill. Number 2 is cyclical unemployment that caused by declining demand when there is not enough demand in economy for goods and services, and also therefore business cannot offer jobs. And number 3 is frictional unemployment that caused by temporary transition in workers' life. For example, when a worker moves to a new city and they need to here to discuss regarding unemployment rate in Malaysia. The unemployment rate in Malaysia dropped to 3.0% in April 2025 from 3.3% in the same month of the previous year, reaching its lowest level since April 2015. The number of unemployed individuals declined by 5.5% year-on-year, dropping to 525,900, the lowest figure in over 5 years. At the same time, total employment increased by 2.8%, hitting a record high of 16.82 million.
Fiscal policy is one of the actions taken by the government to address unemployment in Malaysia. It refers to the government's use of spending and taxation to influence the economy. Did you know that fiscal rules exist to ensure fiscal sustainability and is one of the tools to promote economic growth? And from the perspective of macroeconomic management, fiscal policy is used for macro stabilization and economic stimulus roles. The government uses fiscal tools to stimulate job creation, which by making a training and reskilling program, which is provide funds for TVET, reskilling initiatives and graduate employability programs. Moreover, government also provides tax incentives, which is tax relief for companies hiring locals or setting up operations in rural areas. As for monetary policy, BNM lowered the interest rate and also maintained low overnight policy rate, OPR, to reduce borrowing costs for businesses and consumer. The government encourages business expansion and job creation by liquidity support.
There are 2 actions taken by the government in order to restrain the rate of unemployment in Malaysia, which the first one is by doing upskilling or reskilling programs, and the second one is by doing tax reliefs or tax incentives for the employers. Now, how did they actually do the upskilling or reskilling programs?
To answer your question, an incentive taken by the government called Jaman Kerja Keluarga Malaysia was launched. The objective for this initiative supports is to reduce the country's unemployment rate by creating 600,000 job opportunities with an allocation of Rum 4.8 billion. Secondly, it is to produce more sustainable economic development and towards strengthening the country's labor market. Jaman Kerja Employment Incentive will focus on efforts to encourage employers to recruit new employees, especially among the unemployed.
Program utama iaitu insentif penggajian, inisiatif latihan dan penempatan jangka pendek MyStep, serta program latihan dan peningkatan kemahiran Upskill Malaysia.
Now, what about the second actions taken by the government, which is tax reliefs or tax incentives for the employers?
Another action taken by the government in terms of fiscal policy is tax incentives for employers hiring specific groups. For example, fresh graduates, a person with disabilities, LKU, and ex-prisoners. Stated under Budget 2022, hiring OKU workers qualifies employers for additional tax deduction. Next, tax relief for employers offering internships. Companies that provide training for internships for students and fresh graduates are entitled for double tax deductions. As a result, it will encourage employers to hire and train young workers and at the same time could reduce the graduate unemployment.
Now, let's move to monetary policy. First thing first, what is monetary policy? Monetary policy refers to the action taken by a country's central bank to achieve its macroeconomic policy objective. In Malaysia, monetary policy is the action that Bank Negara Malaysia takes to influence interest rates in the economy. As the Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia role is to promote monetary and financial stability. This is aimed at providing conditions suitable for sustainable growth of the Malaysian economy.
It's actually interesting, Shira. Now, my next question is, what are the actions taken by the government in order to restrain the rate of unemployment in Malaysia, but in terms of monetary policy?
A good question, Sarah. To answer your question, by lowering interest rate is one of the government action to address unemployment using monetary policy. Bank Negara Malaysia may lower the overnight rate policy to reduce borrowing costs. This can encourage business to invest, expand their operation and hire more workers, thus reducing unemployment in Malaysia. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Bank Negara Malaysia cut the overnight policy rate several times in 2020 and 2021 from 3% to 1.05% to stimulate the economy and also reduce the unemployment. Okay, number 2, decrease in the statutory reserve requirement is also one of the action taken by the government, which is reduce the statutory reserve requirement is part of Bank Negara Malaysia continuous effort to ensure sufficient liquidity in the domestic financial system. By lowering the statutory reserve requirement, bank have more money available to lend, which can encourage investment, ultimately leading to job creation.
Wow, Shira, that's actually an interesting topic. I thought it was boring all this time. Now we know what's unemployment and the actions taken by the government. Thank you for your time, Shira.
Thank you, Sarah and Shira. I will continue with direct control policy. Direct control refers to specific government action or policy that directly intervenes in the job market to reduce unemployment. These actions are targeted and measurable, aiming to create jobs, enforce employment, or support hiring. How it works? Instead of relying on indirect method, the government uses direct control to offer employment incentive to employers, launch job creation program, use job matching platform, and set up training and upskilling programs.
Jamin Kerja Keluarga Malaysia is an initiative launched by the government to reduce the national unemployment rate. It was officially launched by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob on 19 February and is implemented by SOSO. This program aimed to create 600,000 job opportunities with a total allocation of 4.8 million. One of the main components in the Jamin Kerja employment incentive, which encourage employer to hire new workers. The program focused on helping vulnerable groups. Employers who hire from this group will receive incentive of 30% of the monthly salary for the first 6 months and 40% for the next 6 months. To support job matching, the My Future Job portal is used to help job seekers find suitable employment opportunities under this initiative. As a result of the government effort, the unemployment rate dropped from 4.3% in November 2021 to 4.2% in December 2021, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia.
The next initiative is Malaysia Short-Term Employment Program, MyStep. The MyStep program is one of the examples of direct control where the government directly provides short-term job opportunities in the public sector and GLC to reduce unemployment, especially among youths and graduates. MyStep is introduced in Budget 2021. It is a short-term work placement program with the public sector or government-linked company, GLC. Tengku Zafrul said the government has continued the MyStep program in an effort to increase the marketability of job seekers. Those interested can submit their application directly to the participating ministry or GLC. He said the government is targeting 80,000 job opportunities to be offered through the program this year compared to 50,000 the previous year. The impact from this program is can reduce unemployment since government provide immediate short-term job opportunities for job seekers and helping to lower the national unemployment rate.
Fergus, what did you get from this video? Care to explain?
To conclude, the Malaysian government has taken a comprehensive approach to tackle the issue of unemployment by implementing a mix of fiscal policy, monetary policy, and direct control measures.